כתוב בתורה, בריאת העולם, המבול שהציף את כל כדור הארץ, המרד במגדל בבל על בורא עולם, ישראל משועבדים במצרים, יציאת מצרים, קריעת ים סוף וטביעת המצריים בים, מעמד הר סיני ועוד הרבה דברים שכתובים בתורה. היום אפשר להוכיח את הכל באמצעי המציאות והארכיאולוגיה, כמו שתראו בסרטונים הבאים. כבר בסרטון שעבר שעסק בעשרת המכות ראינו שתי עדויות ארכיאולוגיות גם לנס קריעת ים סוף, מפפירוס איפוואר וממצבת האסון. ומי שמחפש ימצא הרבה עדויות ארכיאולוגיות לנס קריעת ים סוף, וכגון מה שאתם רואים על המסך, שיש פה תמונות שמגוללות את כל הסיפור, ובואו נראה בגדול שני תמונות עיקריות. בתמונה זו רואים שהים נקרע לשניים והמצרים עומדים על שפתו, ובתמונה זו רואים שהמצרים טובעים בים, וכגון זה יש הרבה, אבל בואו ונראה לפי דעתי את העדות הכי ברורה לקריעת ים סוף, כיוון שלא רק קריעת ים סוף מוזכרת, אלא מוזכר אפילו המקום מדויק שבו היה ככתוב בתורה, ויחנו לפני פי אחירות. וכל מי שלא שבוי לגמרי ליצר הרע מבין שהסיכוי שזה במקרה שואף לאפס, ולכן מוכרח לומר שזה אכן מתאר את קריעת ים סוף.
We found a hieroglyphic inscription on a granite monument that tells the entire story of the Exodus from Pharaoh's point of view. The Bible calls Moses a king. On this stone, Moses is called the Prince of the Desert. The Bible calls the Israelites God's people. The granite calls them the evil ones. And then, the granite corroborates the miracle of the parting of the sea. The symbol can be read by anyone: 3 waves and 2 knives, the parted sea.
The 3 water signs, one on top of the other, is typically used to apply to different types of bodies of water. It can apply to the Nile, can apply to a marsh, it can apply to the sea. But what is not so common is when you have that word in combination with these 2 knives. The fact that you have these 2 knives associated with it would suggest that this is water that is cut, water that is divided. This might be an allusion to the waters that the Red Sea or the Reed Sea were divided in Exodus chapter 14.
Oh, I see it. To examine the text better, we got a pressing of the hieroglyphic, and as it turns out, the Egyptian text doesn't just mention the parting of the sea.
This is the best one. You see the 2 knives?
It also mentions a specific location next to where the sea parted. The place is called Pi Haroti.
إسرائيل مياه مصرايم ويار إسرائيل في مصرايم.
When I, Pharaoh, allowed the abomination of the gods, the immigrants, to depart, the earth swallowed their footsteps. This was the directive of primeval water, who came one day unexpected.
The meaning of the images on the gravestones has never been deciphered until now. If you ask scholars, what is it? They say, well, it looks like a hunt, but there's no animal. Or it looks like a battle, but there's no 2 people fighting. Let's look at it and let's see what in fact do the grave stelae of Mycenae actually testify to if we just look at it
very simply, without any prejudice and without any preconceptions.
I almost want to whisper it's some kind of secret, because nobody realizes that they have a 3,500-year-old movie, if you will, 3 frames of the parting of the sea. And they don't know it. They don't know it, but look at it. Just look at it. It's so clear. Frame number 1, you see waves on top and waves on the bottom. You actually literally see the parting of the sea. And this guy is on a chariot chasing Moses, who's holding a staff. That's frame number 1. And right over here, you have frame number 2 in the movie. The water is gathering into whirlpools. And look what's happened over here. Everybody thinks the man with the staff is the loser, but he's actually turned around. He's turned around. He's facing his enemy. He's occupying higher ground, and this guy is occupying lower ground. And look, there's walls of water coming. And in the 3rd frame, which is in another museum, even more hidden, you see this guy's been overturned, the water is engulfing them, the horses are upended, and the story is complete. To understand what's going on here, all you have to do is actually take this 3D image, which has been flattened out, and just pull it out. Just pull it out. And what you get is the biblical story. When the 3 stelae are put together, what we see, exactly as depicted in the book of Exodus, is an Egyptian charioteer chasing Moses across the parted sea. Then, Moses turns and faces his pursuer. Walls of water rise and come down on the Egyptians. Finally, rider, chariot, and horses are drowned. Here, we have literally carved in stone a visual account of the biblical tale dating back to the very time of Moses and the Exodus.
But last year, in Cantir, in the site of Pharaoh's capital, German archaeologists discovered this stone. It was a tethering stone, a stone for tying horses to. They had found a stable. Then close by they found this, a hubcap for a chariot wheel. This was a stable for a horse and its chariot. Of course, one chariot does not make an army, so they continued to dig. they found enough stables to house nearly 500 horses and chariots.
This proves scientifically that the large number of chariots described in historical texts are actually true and cannot be dismissed as impossible.
Many would argue that identifying Mount Sinai would be tantamount to corroborating the biblical tale.
הטיעון על דרך השלילה, טיעון המסורה, טיעון הזמנים, ההווה, טיעון התיעוד הכרונולוגי, טיעון העמים, טיעון הזיכרון, ועוד.
Shows that the story of Moses and the Exodus can no longer be dismissed as the figment of a scribe's imagination.
The more we investigate, the more we discover that the biblical stories regarding Exodus are reliable.
Let's put all the data together on the table, and then let's hash it out and see what the most likely scenario is, and let the viewer decide.
It was just exciting to see those divers with their films and showing the chariot wheels and the chariots down underneath the water. It was fantastic.